What's up guys, Tamarakshan here. Right now if you're planning to buy a phone in the 40,000 Indian rupees range, well then this is to an extent a solid option to consider, and it's the IQOO 7 Legend. Most of the things about this phone is matching well with the competitors, and hence the experience of using it was enjoyable, because here IQOO has mainly concentrated on the design, the display, its performance, the camera system, and even the battery charging speed. And these are things that are very important with smartphones. But then here some key factors are messed up, and in that the worst one is the battery backup. And that's the weakest point of the IQOO 7 Legend. Now by stating as the weakest point, I'm not saying it's terrible, but still for a battery whose capacity is 4000 mAh, the screen on time I was getting can be considered as below average because it was approximately in the 4.5 hour range. Now this is while using the phone in an intense usage style, and hence if your pattern is more conservative, well then you might be getting a bit more, but still a thing that's sure to happen is that you will need to charge the IQOO 7 Legend every day. And here the charging factor is a strength for the IQOO 7 Legend, because this phone does support fast charging, and the charger that's bundled with the phone is a 66 watt charger. And hence if you need to do a quick top up, well a 10-minute charge will get you around 40% of the battery. So in that regard, IQOO has actually covered the battery backup limitation, but then if you are a person who's into wireless charging, well that feature is not present here. But that said, if you take a look at this display, well it's a strong feature in this phone, because this is a great display. Its size is 6.62 inches, which is fairly big for a smartphone, and here the resolution is Full HD. And here, considering the fact that IQOO has used an AMOLED panel, has a lot of advantages like the punchy colors and excellent contrast ratio, and overall it's a neat panel for this price tag. I'm not saying it's the best panel, but still for media consumption and your casual browsing, it's a good panel, because here the viewing angles are fine, and also I haven't noticed any tinting effect, and here the brightness level is more than enough, so outdoor usage is not a concern. And also the bezels are fairly slim, and even the hole punch camera cutout is not very big, but here this silver ring, well it could have been avoided, and overall from a viewing experience point of view, I like this display. And when you pair such a display with pretty strong dual speakers, the experience is kinda perfected. This speaker system is very loud and the clarity is still good, and hence the lack of headphone jack was not at all a major concern. And also since the Bluetooth connectivity is solid because of Bluetooth 5.2, well if you want to take the audio listening experience private, it's also enjoyable. Now here with this display, I didn't highlight the major hyped factor, which is the higher refresh rate. This is a 120Hz panel, and the smoothness you're getting from it is indeed noticeable. This phone is a blazing fast phone. Well, it's not only because of the 120Hz refresh rate, but it's also because of the top spec internals. The processor powering the IQOO 7 Legend is the Snapdragon 888, and here the RAM, it can be 8GB or 12GB, and it's LPDDR5 RAM. And also the non-expandable storage, well it can be either 128GB or 256GB, and it's UFS 3.1 storage. Now the variant I tested is the base variant, but here these specifications, they are very strong for 2021, and the outcome is as expected, really great. There isn't any lag or slowdowns, and everything works really well. There is no need to worry about regular usage pattern, because you won't face any issues with such kind of a usage, and even for heavy users or gamers, this phone performs flawlessly. In a game like Asphalt 9, there is literally no frame drops or choppiness, and even if you play such a game for approximately 20 minutes, the phone doesn't get very hot, and even after that long, there is no signs of throttling. And that's the best thing to highlight about this phone. Now it can be because of a well-managed cooling system, which IQOO claims to be the largest vapor chamber liquid cooling system, and the reason I'm stating it like this is because the software of the IQOO 7 Legend is nothing to hype about. And in fact, it's something that I'm not a fan of. The UI, which is fun to choice, is based on Android 11, and here the interface is not a very heavy one, and there is somewhat a Google effect seen at places, but still this phone does have bloatware and occasional ads. Now it's not a major concern because to an extent things are fine, but still if we compare this UI with OxygenOS, well OxygenOS is miles better. And a factor that might pull certain type of buyers away from the IQOO 7 Legend can be this software approach. But that said, the camera system is really good for the segment. And this is a phone that has used only needed sensors on the back. The main camera is a 48 megapixel one, and its aperture is f1.79. Then there are two 13 megapixel cameras, in which one is a wide angle camera whose aperture is f2.2, and the other 13 megapixel one is a 2x telephoto camera whose aperture is f2.46. And here the shots from all these cameras are actually good in situations ranging from a proper outdoor lighting environment to even an artificially lit environment. Because in such situations, all these cameras take neat looking photos with sharp colors and details, and also the dynamic range is good, especially with shots taken with the main camera. And this main camera, it does hold its mark even in a darker setting with limited light, because then you can utilize the night mode option to take usable shots. So from a photo capturing point of view, the back camera system in the IQOO 7 Legend is solid. But about the videos recorded, well, it's good because here the stabilization and focusing is impressive, but then about the colors, they look a bit muted. Well, for the maxed out setting, 4K at 60 FPS is supported, and here this sample video shown is recorded in 1080p at 60 FPS. And now switching to the front camera bordered by this silver ring, well, it's a 16 megapixel camera and its aperture is f2.0, and here this one is also a good camera. The selfies are sharp and also the details are maintained, and even the skin tone has a natural touch, so let it be selfies taken indoors or outdoors, they all look solid. Now a processing effect is there only when the light drops, and hence I did like the front camera photos, and same is with the videos recorded, because here the videos are neat looking, and that's also a strong point for the IQOO 7 Legend. So from all this, a clear thing is that the IQOO 7 Legend's camera system is an advantage point for this phone, and here the next factor, which is the design and build quality, is to an extent a strong point too. But here a very important thing to understand is that this phone is not a slim, lightweight one. In fact, it's a huge form-factored one, and this phone's weight is something you will notice, and for sure this is a two-handed phone. But as you can see, the design, even though it's the same old bar phone type, but it looks unique and attractive. IQOO terms this a legendary track design theme, and that's mainly because of this tricolor approach, and in person this one looks sleek, especially because of the white color domination, and this camera module blends well into it, and also the accented power button is all adding up to the look. And here even the in-hand feel is best because of the curved back glass, and also the phone feels very sturdy, and that's mainly because of the aluminum frame and the front and back glass, and actually even now the frame and glass is staying clean with very minor scratches. And also, by the way, these buttons, they're of great quality and they do have this metal clicky feel which I like. So from a design perspective, if you are not worried about the size and heft, well then you will like the IQOO 7 Legend's design and build quality. But then if we check the unlocking method, it's fingerprint unlock and it's the in-display one, which is positioned in a lower level, so in that regard there is a bit of awkwardness, but about the speed and accuracy, it's not complainable. And also this earpiece in the IQOO 7 Legend is a good quality one, so if you're into making a lot of calls, you won't face any issues with this. And about the Wi-Fi version, it's Wi-Fi 6 and all the needed sensors are present in the IQOO 7 Legend. And by the way, this phone is a 5G supported phone, but in India right now there is no means to test the 5G speed. But here a key thing to notice that this phone does have 5 band of 5G, which is much better than the single band scheme provided in other phones in the segment. And also if in case you're thinking about the IP rating, well officially there isn't any IP rating for this phone. So I guess that's everything about the IQOO 7 Legend after 2 months of launch. And even now, this phone is the best option to consider if your priorities are basically leaning towards the display, the performance, and the camera side. And here while doing a competitor comparison, like for instance with the OnePlus 9R, because the pricing of both these phones are the same, well then the core deciding thing should basically be like if your importance is with the cleaner software and better battery life and also a more sleeker design, well then the OnePlus 9R is the one to go for. But instead if you're more into the better performance and the much better camera system, well then this IQOO 7 Legend has the solid upper hand. And basically your decision should tailor down to what matters to you the most. That's all for this video guys, hope you liked it. If so, a like is much appreciated, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel because you won't miss our future contents, and also it does help our channel a lot. See you again in the next one, till then, bye.